Let's talk about motivation, something we all rely on to push through those hard days, but a resource we can't always seem to summon when we need it most. The reality is, our motivation levels are not constant. You can't count on waking up every morning feeling pumped and ready to conquer the world. That initial burst of energy and drive you get when you decide to start something new, it's fleeting. It's not a limitless well you can draw from endlessly. Instead, you need to manually create your own motivation and learn how to maintain it even when it seems to be running dry. Some days, motivation is full to the brim. You spring out of bed, excited for the day, hit the gym, and breeze through your to-do list. But on other days, a few minor setbacks, a bad meeting, a missed target can drain your motivation before lunch. Once the brain associates an activity with negative outcomes, it starts pushing you away from that task to shield you from potential disappointment. The result? Even minor failures can snowball into major demotivation. This cycle keeps you stuck unless you learn how to break it. But here's the kicker. Setbacks are inevitable. Imperfection is part of the process. You have to learn how to handle those curveballs without letting them derail your motivation. High achievers understand that one bad moment can't dictate the rest of the day. They know when to put their heads down and keep moving forward. Motivation isn't just a feeling. It's a reward system. When we experience positive emotions, satisfaction, excitement, or pride, we're more likely to repeat the actions that led to those feelings. But we can't expect our bodies to supply endless motivation without help. The trick is to build a system that primes your mind to manufacture motivation reserves when the natural reserves start to dwindle. So how does it actually work? From a neuroscience perspective, it all starts with a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is your brain's motivational fuel, produced in the midbrain's ventral tegmental area and sent to regions responsible for planning, decision-making, and reward processing. Researchers have found that highly motivated individuals have stronger dopamine signaling in two specific areas, the striatum and the prefrontal cortex. This tells us that when your brain has more dopamine available, it's more willing to take on challenges and push through discomfort. But here's where many people fall short. They fail to prime their brains to release dopamine in the right way. It's not just about sheer willpower. It's about how you build the environment around you. Just scrolling through mindless content for a quick dopamine hit won't help you. Instead, you need to engage in activities that provide gradual, sustained dopamine release, things that align with your goals and keep your mind engaged. So how can you encourage more of that sweet dopamine? You know the answer already, but it's time to face it. Eat well, exercise, and get enough rest. If you're here searching for the holy grail of motivation hacks, but you're not prioritizing these basics, you're not being serious about success. Motivation is hardwired into your biology. When you take care of your body, you unlock your brain's potential to stay driven. From a psychological perspective, motivation comes in two flavors, extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic motivation is driven by external rewards, praise, promotions, and perks. But intrinsic motivation is different. It's an internal fire fueled by curiosity, passion, and personal satisfaction. When you can tap into intrinsic motivation, that's when you reach the sweet spot. The work becomes rewarding in itself. When everything aligns, your health, your mindset, your environment, you feel unstoppable. But when even one of these is out of balance, the entire system collapses. If you're stuck in a job that drains you, surrounded by people who don't value you, and neglecting your physical and mental well-being, then it's no wonder motivation is a struggle. It's not a character flaw, it's simply science. You can't thrive without laying the proper groundwork. The science of motivation is pretty straightforward. If you don't take care of the basics, you can't expect to sustain high levels of energy and drive. No one wants to hear that there's no quick fix, but that's the reality. You can't just think yourself into motivation. You have to live yourself into it by creating a lifestyle that feeds your energy. But here's the good news. You're not at the mercy of your biology. You have more control than you think. The first step is to ask yourself a few questions. What drains your motivation? Identify the tasks, people, or habits that sap your energy. What triggers a positive response? Find the actions or moments that leave you feeling accomplished and repeat them. What can you automate? Cut down on unnecessary decisions to conserve your willpower for the moments that matter. It's time to be intentional. Stop waiting for motivation to appear and start designing it. Recognize when you're at your peak and structure your day to tackle high-impact tasks during those windows. When your energy dips, switch to easier activities. Build routines that support your goals rather than pull you away from them. This isn't about powering through or relying on some mythical inner drive. It's about understanding the mechanics of motivation and putting yourself in the best possible position to succeed. Stop looking for a magic bullet. You already have the tools. You just need to wield them. So, get up, plan your environment, fuel your body, set the tone for the day, and make the decision that leads to progress, not stagnation. Motivation isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. And you, my friend, are the architect of your own drive. Make it happen.